1975 gave us some unforgettable music. Between disco, soft rock, and everything in between, it was a year when songs could come out of nowhere and dominate the airwaves. But some of these artists had just one shot at glory, burning bright for a moment before fading away. Can you name these 15 one-hit wonders from 1975? Number 15, The Hustle, by Van McCoy and the Soul City Symphony. 1975. Van McCoy was a veteran music producer who'd spent years crafting songs for other artists. When his friend Charles Kipps came back from a New York nightclub called Adam's Apple and told him about a new dance where couples actually danced together again, McCoy was intrigued. He had an hour of studio time left at the end of a recording session. He wrote The Hustle right there in that final hour, threw it onto an album called Disco Baby, and nobody expected much. The song was almost entirely instrumental, with just a few voices repeating the title. But that orchestral arrangement, those strings and horns over that driving rhythm, captured exactly what disco was becoming. It was sophisticated, classy, and made people want to move. The Hustle went to number 1 in July 1975, spent a week there, and won a Grammy for Best Pop Instrumental Performance. The dance it was named after became a nationwide craze, with everyone from teenagers to their parents learning the steps. Dance studios taught variations. Television shows featured it. It became a cultural phenomenon. Van McCoy never had another major hit. He kept making music, kept producing, even had other songs chart modestly. But nothing came close to matching The Hustle. He died of a heart attack in 1979 at just 39 years old. But that one song made him immortal. Every wedding, every disco party, every moment when someone needs that perfect disco track, The Hustle is still there. Number 14, Lovin You, by Minnie Riperton, 1975. Minnie Riperton had one of the most remarkable voices in music history, hitting notes in the whistle register that seemed almost impossible. Her range was extraordinary, spanning 5 octaves, and she used it to create pure beauty. Lovin You was written by Riperton and her husband Richard Rudolph as a lullaby for their baby daughter Maya, who later became famous on Saturday Night Live. The melody was created to distract the baby so Minnie and Richard could have some time together. It worked, and that gentle, loving melody became the foundation for one of the decade's most beautiful songs. Stevie Wonder produced the track under the pseudonym El Toro Negro because of contractual issues with Motown. The song featured just Riperton's voice, acoustic guitar, keyboards, and the sound of chirping birds. No drums, no bass, no heavy production. Just a delicate arrangement showcasing her incredible range. Released as the 4th single from Perfect Angel, it climbed to number 1 in April 1975. That bridge where she hits those impossibly high notes became one of the most famous vocal moments in pop music. If you listen to the unedited version, you can hear her singing Maya's name at the end, a sweet, personal touch. Riperton never had another top 40 hit. Her follow-up albums did well critically, but didn't match the commercial success. Tragically, she was diagnosed with cancer in 1976 and died in 1979 at just 31 years old. But that one perfect song remains her legacy, still played and covered decades later. Number 13, Jackie Blue, by Ozark Mountain, Daredevils, 1975. The Ozark Mountain Daredevils were a southern rock band from Missouri known for their country-influenced sound. They had a following in the Midwest, played good solid rock and roll, and fit comfortably into the southern rock scene alongside bands like the Allman Brothers and Lynyrd Skynyrd. When Jackie Blue became a hit in 1975, it caught everyone off guard, including the band. The song didn't sound like anything else they'd done.
Jackie, you're not so down.
Drummer Larry Lee wrote it about a guy he knew, someone who worked as a bartender and lived a mysterious lifestyle. The song started as something completely different in rehearsals. When producer Glyn Johns heard Lee singing the chorus during recording sessions, he immediately recognized a hit. But he insisted they change it from being about a guy to being about a woman. Marketing, he thought. So Lee and bandmate Steve Cash went into another room and rewrote the lyrics in 30 minutes, transforming the mysterious man into a mysterious woman named Jackie Blue.
Ooh, Jackie Blue.
The result was this smooth, R&B influenced pop song, with a dreamy quality that didn't match their rougher rock sound. It was almost more Curtis Mayfield than Allman Brothers, with a laid-back groove and sophisticated arrangement. Radio loved it, and Jackie Blue climbed to number 3 in May 1975.
Going places where you've never been.
But that success created problems. Their label wanted more songs like it, pressuring them to make Jackie Blue Part 2. That wasn't who they were as artists. The pressure to replicate that pop sound hampered their artistic freedom, and it remained their only top 40 hit. That smooth, enigmatic song overshadowed everything else they ever did.
Lives her life from inside of a room.
Number 12. Fly, Robin, Fly by Silver Convention, 1975.
Fly, Robin, fly.
Silver Convention was a German disco group that couldn't speak English. When it came time to record songs for the American market, their producers had to get creative. Really creative. Fly, Robin, Fly reached number 1 with exactly 6 words total. The entire lyric is just those words repeated over and over.
Up to the sky.
Producer Michael Kunze originally wanted to call it Run, Rabbit, Run. But songwriter Sylvester LeVay heard another song with that title on Armed Forces Radio the day before recording. So Kunze changed it to Fly, Robin, Fly on the spot, figuring birds were similar to rabbits in some symbolic way. The lack of lyrics didn't matter one bit. What mattered was that pulsing disco beat, those soaring strings, that infectious groove. This was disco as pure dance music, where words were secondary to rhythm and feeling. American audiences didn't care about the lyrics. They cared about how it made them feel, how it made them want to move.
Fly, Robin, fly.
Fly, Robin, Fly spent 3 weeks at number 1 in late 1975 and won a Grammy for Best R&B Instrumental Performance. It was one of the first major disco hits by a European act in America, proving disco could cross language barriers. Silver Convention never matched that success in America, remaining forever known for their 6-word wonder. Number 11. Feelings by Morris Albert, 1975. Morris Albert was a Brazilian singer-songwriter who recorded Feelings as a soft ballad about lost love. The song had originally been recorded in Portuguese, but the English version released in 1975 became inescapable worldwide. With Albert repeatedly singing the title word, stretching out those syllables over a gentle melody, it defined early 70s sensitive balladry. The chorus of "Whoa, whoa, whoa feelings" became instantly recognizable, for better or worse. Some people found it deeply moving. Others found it unbearably sappy. There wasn't much middle ground.
Feelings like I've never lost you.
The song peaked at number 6, but spent an astonishing 32 weeks on the chart, longer than any other hit in 1975. You couldn't escape it. Radio played it constantly. Over 300 artists eventually recorded their own versions, from Johnny Mathis to Nina Simone. The song was nominated for 2 Grammy Awards in 1976. In 1988, French songwriter Louis Gastet successfully sued Albert for plagiarism, claiming feelings borrowed heavily from his 1956 song Pour Toi. A court agreed, awarding Gastet 88% of the royalties and $500,000 in damages. Despite the controversy, Feelings remains one of the most recognizable ballads of the 70s, still used in movies and commercials for its instant emotional recognition. Number 10. Emma by Hot Chocolate, 1975.
I'm gonna write your name high on that.
Hot Chocolate was a British group that had been making music since the late 60s, building a following in the UK with their mix of soul, pop, and funk. Emma gave them their first major American hit, telling the story of a grandmother remembering her past. Singer Errol Brown's warm, emotive vocals carried the story of Emma, an elderly woman looking back on her life and love. The song had a gentle, nostalgic quality that connected with listeners. It wasn't trying to be revolutionary. It was just a beautiful, well-crafted pop song about memory, aging, and love that endures through the years. Emma reached number 8 in summer 1975 and became Hot Chocolate's signature song in America. Radio played it constantly, and it became a staple of easy listening and adult contemporary formats. The song's sweetness and sincerity made it perfect for those quieter moments. Here's the interesting thing about Hot Chocolate. In the UK, they were huge, with multiple hits throughout the 70s and into the 80s, including You Sexy Thing, which Americans know from movies. But in America, they remained known primarily for this one tender ballad about an old woman's memories. Number 9. Only Women Bleed by Alice Cooper, 1975.
Only women bleed. Only women bleed.
Alice Cooper was known for shock rock, theatrical performances with guillotines and snakes, hard-driving anthems about teenage rebellion. So when he released Only Women Bleed in 1975, a ballad dealing with serious domestic issues, it surprised everyone who thought they knew what Alice Cooper was about.
Man makes your hair gray. He's your life's mistake.
The song's title caused immediate controversy. Some radio stations initially refused to play it, misunderstanding what it was about. But the song was actually addressing something much more serious. A woman trapped in an unhappy, difficult relationship, dealing with problems at home. Cooper and co-writer Dick Wagner had crafted a sensitive, emotional ballad. Only Women Bleed reached number 12 in mid-1975, proving Cooper could do more than shock value. He could write meaningful songs about real issues. The power ballad format, with quiet verses building to intense choruses, showcased his vocal range in ways his theatrical rock hadn't.
Only women bleed. Only women.
While Cooper continued having success with other songs, this remained his highest charting solo ballad in America, the song that showed real substance behind the makeup and stage theatrics. Number 8. Rhinestone Cowboy by Glen Campbell, 1975.
Like a rhinestone cowboy.
Glen Campbell was an established country and pop crossover artist by 1975. But Rhinestone Cowboy took him to new heights. Written by Larry Weiss, the song told the story of a struggling entertainer dreaming of stardom, riding through the city on a star-spangled rodeo. The narrator is broke, lonely, dealing with the harsh realities of trying to make it in show business. He's getting cards and letters from people he doesn't even know, offers coming over the phone, but he keeps believing, keeps imagining himself as that rhinestone cowboy under all the lights and adoration. It captured both the hope and the heartbreak of pursuing fame.
Getting cards and letters from people I don't even know.
Rhinestone Cowboy topped the charts in summer 1975, sold over 2 million copies, and earned Campbell a Grammy nomination. The song crossed over beautifully to multiple formats, playing on country, pop, and adult contemporary stations. Everyone could relate to that dreamer who refuses to give up.
Like a rhinestone cowboy.
What made it resonate so deeply was its universal theme. Anyone who's ever pursued a dream, who struggled while believing something better was coming, could see themselves in that rhinestone cowboy. Campbell had other hits before and after, but this became his signature song, the one that defined his career for a new generation. Number 7. I'm Not in Love by 10cc, 1975.
I'm not in love, no.
British band 10cc took 3 weeks to record I'm Not in Love, layering vocal harmonies over and over until they created an ethereal, haunting soundscape. Unlike anything else on radio in 1975, the production alone was a masterpiece of studio craft.
To see you, but then again.
The lyrics told the story of someone desperately trying to convince themselves they're not in love. They list all the reasons why this isn't serious, why they're not affected. But the very desperation of that denial makes it crystal clear they're absolutely, completely in love. It's psychological, subtle, and emotionally complex in a way pop songs rarely achieve.
I'm not in love, no.
The production was revolutionary. Instead of traditional instruments, 10cc built the backing track primarily from layered vocal harmonies, creating what sounded like a lush choir of angelic voices. A secretary at the studio provided the whispered line in the middle section, adding another layer of emotional depth and mystery to the track.
Not in love, so don't forget.
I'm Not in Love reached number 2 in June 1975, spending 3 weeks at that position. In the UK, it hit number 1 and stayed there for 2 weeks. Despite 10cc's other successes in Britain, this remained their only major American hit. But what a hit it was, with production that still sounds innovative today.
Just because I call you.
Number 6. Lady Marmalade by LaBelle, 1975. LaBelle took a massive risk with Lady Marmalade. The chorus featured French lyrics that were a very direct invitation to spend the night together. Getting that past radio censors in 1975 required either incredible boldness or brilliant strategy. LaBelle had both. Patti LaBelle, Nona Hendrix, and Sarah Dash transformed the song into a funk disco hybrid with New Orleans influences, creating something that felt dangerous, exciting, and utterly irresistible. Producer Alan Toussaint gave it that bayou funk feel, while the trio's powerful vocals added attitude and confidence. Lady Marmalade hit number 1 in March 1975, staying there for a week. It was groundbreaking in multiple ways. It was one of the first number 1 hits to feature French lyrics prominently. It dealt with adult themes more openly than most pop music of the era. And it showcased 3 women as powerful, confident, and completely in control of their narrative. The song became so iconic that it was successfully covered decades later for the Moulin Rouge soundtrack, hitting number 1 all over again in 2001. But the original version remains definitive. While LaBelle had other R&B hits, Lady Marmalade remained their only pop crossover smash. Number 5. Shining Star by Earth, Wind and Fire, 1975. Earth, Wind and Fire were building toward superstardom, and Shining Star pushed them over the top. Maurice White and Philip Bailey's vocals soared over a groove blending funk, disco, jazz, and soul into something uniquely EWF. Shining Star topped the charts in April 1975, becoming their first #1 pop hit. It also won a Grammy Award. The message was about recognizing your own worth and potential. Everyone is a shining star. At a time when music focused on hard times, this positivity felt revolutionary. Earth, Wind and Fire had many more hits, but this captured their essence perfectly. Number 4. My Eyes Adored You by Frankie Valli, 1975. Frankie Valli had been famous since the 60s with the Four Seasons, but his solo career had stalled. My Eyes Adored You changed that, giving him one of the biggest hits of his career. The song told a nostalgic story about young love, a girl from childhood he adored from afar, but could never have because they came from different social classes. Valli's distinctive high tenor was perfect for this emotional ballad. My Eyes Adored You reached #1 in March 1975, his first solo #1 since 1967. It proved he could still connect with audiences as a solo artist. Number 3. Wildfire by Michael Martin Murphey, 1975. Michael Martin Murphey was a Texas singer-songwriter from the Austin country scene. Wildfire was his breakthrough, a haunting story song that mixed country, folk, and pop.
And the pony she named Wildfire.
The song tells the story of a pony named Wildfire and the young woman who loved her. When both disappear on a cold winter night, the narrator still hears Wildfire calling from the darkness. The ambiguity of whether this is memory, ghost story, or metaphor was part of its appeal. Wildfire reached #3 in March 1975 and #1 on the adult contemporary chart. It crossed over to country stations and became a soft rock staple. Murphy continued making country music for decades, but never had another major pop crossover hit.
She ran calling Wildfire.
Number 2. Get Down Tonight by KC and the Sunshine Band, 1975.
Get down tonight. Get down tonight.
KC and the Sunshine Band were a Florida group with a unique sound that blended disco, funk, and R&B with a prominent horn section. Get Down Tonight became their breakthrough hit and one of disco's defining songs. The song had everything: a killer bass line, punchy horns, and a chorus that demanded you move. It hit #1 in August 1975 and established the formula KC and the Sunshine Band would use for several more hits. But Get Down Tonight remained their most iconic track, synonymous with the disco era.
Get down tonight. Get down tonight.
Number 1. Thank God I'm a Country Boy by John Denver, 1975.
Thank God I'm a country boy, with the work's all done and the sunset low.
John Denver was already a superstar by 1975, so technically not a one-hit wonder. But Thank God I'm a Country Boy showed how an artist known for gentlefolk could have a foot-stomping, fiddle-driven party anthem. Written by John Martin Summers, the song celebrated rural life with infectious enthusiasm. The fiddle work drove the track with square dance energy. Thank God I'm a Country Boy hit #1 in April 1975 and became Denver's signature live song. At a time when America was dealing with economic problems and post-Watergate disillusionment, that message of simple contentment resonated.
A fiddle when I can, work when I should. Thank God I'm a country boy.
Looking at these one-hit wonders from 1975, the sheer variety stands out. Disco pioneers like Van McCoy and Silver Convention, soft rock balladeers like Morris Albert and Minnie Riperton, Southern Rock from the Ozark Mountain Daredevils. It was a year when almost anything could become a hit. These weren't artists who failed. Most kept making music for years. But they had that one moment when everything aligned. One song that captured the cultural moment. One track radio couldn't stop playing. Each song tells us something about 1975. The disco revolution was happening. Soft rock ballads showed that sensitivity still had a place on the charts. Country crossover hits proved Nashville could compete in the pop world. The one-hit wonder phenomenon reminds us how unpredictable success can be. Van McCoy wrote The Hustle in an hour. The Ozark Mountain Daredevils rewrote Jackie Blue in 30 minutes. Sometimes magic happens quickly. For the artists, being a one-hit wonder is complicated. It's validation that millions connected with something they created. But there's pressure to recreate that success. The hit can overshadow everything else, becoming both your greatest achievement and your biggest limitation. 50 years later, we appreciate these songs for what they are. Perfect moments captured in time. One great song that millions love is an extraordinary accomplishment. These 15 one-hit wonders offer a snapshot of American culture in 1975. Disco was becoming mainstream. Country was crossing over more successfully. R&B was getting funkier. 1975 was a year of optimism. The Vietnam War had ended, and people were ready to have fun. So how many of these 15 one-hit wonders from 1975 did you remember? Maybe you knew them all. Maybe some were vague memories. Maybe a few were complete surprises. That's the beautiful thing about one-hit wonders. They're time capsules, reminders of specific moments in music history. Some become classics everyone knows. Others become deep cuts only enthusiasts remember. But all of them mattered. They all gave joy to millions and contributed to making 1975 one of the most interesting years in pop music history. The next time you hear one of these songs, take a moment to appreciate it. Someone wrote those words and that melody. Someone performed it with their whole heart. And millions loved it enough to make it a hit. That's not failure. That's success, even if it only happened once. If you enjoyed this trip back to 1975, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more looks at the music that defined our generation. Thanks for watching.